Thank you, Emma. Thank you. Yes, my name's Carol, and I'm the team leader for Trafford Sendiass. So that's Special Educational Needs and Disability Information, Advice and Support Service. Hence, that's why we call it Sendiass, because it's far too much to say in one go. We're free, confidential and impartial advice support service for parent carers, children and young people who have special educational needs and disability who live in Trafford, aged 0 to 25. So we were set up, you probably know us maybe as Parent Partnership Service. So I don't know if you've heard of that before, Emma, but when the reforms happened back in 2014 and the whole system changed for children and young people who had additional needs, this service was commissioned, and it has to be here to help parents, children and young people, so children and young people can come to us themselves as well if they want some support, because it is a minefield, as you said, Emma. You know, sometimes you can find yourself in this world where you weren't planning on being in it before. You've no idea. There's lots of policies, procedures and different pathways for this, that and the other, and that's why we are here. We do only support parent carers and children and young people if the young person or the child has special educational needs and disability. Unfortunately, that's all we have the capacity to do. And we do work with other agencies within Trafford, like Alistair's just said. So we do try and work in partnership with a number of stakeholders across Trafford. But I do want to stress that we are at arm's length from the local council. So please, do get in touch with us, because we are free, we are impartial and we are confidential. So our work does vary quite a lot. We can answer people's queries and questions, sometimes without them even giving us a name over the phone, because we do run a dedicated helpline, which is every Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 noon every single day. So we do have a telephone number, and I'll put that all on the chat in a bit, or you can get in touch with us or you can email us. So it could be something very simple, that they just need some help with signposting to a different service, or they don't quite understand, or it could be that they need to get hold of somebody on the EHC team and they don't know how to go about that, and it could be something really, really simple like that. The other end of the spectrum is that we will support families in much bigger issues. I've worked with Alistair before if around exclusion, so we can support a family with appeals for that. We can support families through mediation and the tribunal process if they're going down that with the educational health and care plan. So a lot of our work is around send law, resolving disagreements. So that could be between the parent, carer or young person and the LA, or just with a school. We help them understand all about the EHC process, because it is a minefield. So there's a lot of work we do around that. It could be we just helping them fill in a request form. We can help them go through the draft plans, the final plans. If they've got any queries or questions around that, we're there to help them with that. We help them with queries about health and social care issues as well in relation to SEND. And we help with transition to post-16. My previous role, I have been a SEND officer for Trafford Council. Before I moved over to Sendiass, I did work for the LA, and I was a SEND officer, post-16 coordinator, so I've got quite a lot of experience in that sector. And before that, I've worked for about 16 years in sensory support for Stockport Council. So my sort of career in SEND is lasted about 20 years now. So, and a lot of my team have got a lot of personal experience of SEND. So we're a small team. We're like Alistair, we don't tell people what to do. We help them make informed decisions. So we help them with their options. It could be they don't understand the graduated approaches or the pathways for autism diagnosis, for ADHD diagnosis. So we don't advise people what to do, but we help them understand about the processes and their choices that they can make. So we do have a Facebook page and a Twitter page, and on that we share a lot of local information, like your coffee mornings, Emma, are on there every week. So we remind people about all the local provision that there is out there, things like Couth and 42nd Street and things like that. As a service, we support with the voice of everybody in Trafford. So I do sit on the SEND board. So a lot of the information, I anonymise and I can feed back all the problems that I feel are happening within Trafford. They are fed back to the right people, and they're really, really interested in getting Sendiass's feedback. They're really, really, they want to know how things can be improved for our children and young people we send in Trafford. So, and as Alistair was saying before, I helped with the virtual mental health wellbeing hub. So, we sat on that group as well. So we sit on quite a few groups within Trafford to make sure that the voice, and opinions of our children and young people and parent carers are heard. So I think that's us.
Thank you so much, Carol. It's really interesting that you've ended talking about the voice, because one of the questions that I asked the panel last week was around how children have been involved with their voice about the return to school and whether they've been consulted at all.
I know, I think that is tricky because we've been so far removed from it, and we've now moved on to this virtual world. What I would say is that some of the feedback we are getting is that some young people actually quite like the virtual world and the virtual platform. They feel much more comfortable, sitting in their own home with just one screen in front of them. So in some ways, this lockdown has helped some of our young people because they don't feel as daunted about going into it. And I know there's a lot of work that needs to be done in Trafford, and we're part of the process, hoping to drive that, to get that youth voice heard, and it's how to collect it. And it's about us as professionals, I think, going out to their communities and their groups, and which is something that we're hopefully going to start working on as a collective. Even though we're at arm's length from the council as a service, we still do work with the council, and we're trying to all come together so we can get that youth voice and that child voice much more than what is being collected at the moment.
And I certainly think from somebody who's quite new to working as a social, because my background was in teaching, so as somebody who is new to working in a social enterprise and community interest company and the BCSE sector across Trafford, even within like the last 2 years, I can really see how people are now starting to come to, all the organisations are really starting to come together and work with each other in partnership and in collaboration. And that can only be
definitely. And we work really collaboratively with Trafford Parent Forum, which I think Justin came on with you, didn't she?
Right.
So we work with her, and they're champions at getting the voice across, aren't they? That is they're really, really good at that. So we're working with them. So hopefully things will improve in that sector.
And I'm just going to drop a plug in because it feels like it's a natural thing to do. But last year when we ran the Reset event, we ran an exhibition called 100 Voices, which was to get messages around wellbeing and mental health from young people in Trafford. It was a really successful exhibition. There were some quite thought-provoking pieces in there, and I know some professionals had seen those and were like, I can't work like this anymore, so we're hoping to do the same again for this year. We're going to be collecting the voices from young people primarily, but we thought also we needed a bit more of a balance, so we're going to invite parent carers and also professionals as well. So if anybody would like to be part of that, please email me at emma@Calm Connections. We've got, people can keep their, and I can't say this word, anonymity. So, you don't have to say who you are. We just want to hear what you've got to say, really, and the message that you want to bring to the people of Trafford about how future services can look, the things that work for you, the things that don't, So, that's that. Thank you, Carol.